All right, day three. Let's talk about point of view. So, you've got some ideas. Maybe you've got a bit of a plot line sketched out and you're ready to start writing. So, one of the things you're going to have to think about is what point of view, or rather, what perspective, are you going to use to tell your story? First person is great for memoirs because it'll read like a journal and it really bonds your reader to you immediately because you're it's as if you're sitting just the two of you talking and having coffee together or something. That's what a first person narrative feels like. So if that's what you're going for and that's what you want to accomplish with your book, first person is a great point of view to use. Um, the other more popular option that's got a little more possibilities to it, a little more things you can do, is third person. So there's third person omniscient, which is also very popular. And you're basically a narrator telling everything from a detached point of view. You're God, you're looking down onto the story and the characters, you're choosing what to tell, you're not limited by anything, you can tell it however you wish and move through the story and across the characters um, freely. So that one's not complicated and it's not too hard to do because it's you, he, she, well, not you, sorry, he, she, it. Basically, you're just telling the story from the perspective of a detached narrator. Then you have what I like to use, which is third person limited. And what that means is that, let's say you got three characters, you're alternating the way you're telling the story from each character's perspective. So, for instance, let's say you got the first three chapters and you want to introduce three different characters. You tell the first chapter of the story from character one's perspective, the second chapter from your second character's perspective, the third chapter from your third character's perspective. And you don't have to have three. You can alternate between two people's perspectives or however many kind of main characters you want to develop. Whichever characters in your story you really want the reader to connect with, those are good choices for you to use as your POVs as you move through your story. So I typically limit that to about four max, um, just just because you get too many more than that and it can be a little disorienting. Um, just as if in a movie, you're not really going to see. You'll have two leads and you'll have a couple supporting, right? You're not going to have 10 people that you're really diving into. But anyway, so I like to do that. And what that means is you've got to be very careful. Once you choose it, you have to be consistent. So if I'm telling character one, this like chapter one from character one's perspective, I need to keep in mind I only know what character one knows. My personality, my relationships, my location in space and time, those are limited. I can only tell that chapter and what's going on from that particular character's point of view. Only from what that character knows, only from what that character experiences. Then when I switch to another character's POV, same rules apply. I have to limit that to what that character knows, what that character feels. You can go into their thoughts and feelings, but they have to be consistent. I can't jump into this person's head in this chapter and then jump into someone else's head. I have to stay with that character throughout my chapter. So, keeping that in mind, that's the thing you have to watch for. And it's something that an editor will pick up on very quickly, whether or not you're being consistent with your point of view. So I hope that makes sense. Third person limited is my favorite. I would say try it. especially if you're wanting to write a fiction book or a fiction novel. Try multiple points of view and see what that does for your story. And it will help you get to know your characters as well, because you're going to be consistently having to move into their headspace and become them. What would they think? How would they feel? What would they do? And then tell each piece of your story from those different perspectives. If you have questions, feel free to message me on any of the platforms, Instagram, Facebook. I think maybe even here you could leave questions in the comments and I can address them in my next video. But I hope you're enjoying it. And if you have any questions about point of view, please let me know, or anything else. And I'll see you tomorrow.